only do that when you're young, okay? I'm looking at this and my back hurts.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto, and my God, the NFL came back in such a beautiful way last night. I mean, come on, that was like the KD3 against the Bucks in the playoffs. And after the game, Patrick Mahomes had jokes.
He's got to wear white cleats next time. That's my advice for him.
Like, you know he's already hurting. Then the white shoe comment is just diabolical. I feel like this year Patrick Mahomes is going to up his comedy game. But all joking aside, that toe could be the difference between the 1 seed and who has home field advantage in the playoffs, and quite possibly who goes to the Super Bowl in February. This is what is so great about the NFL. We've only played one game and we are already talking about the Super Bowl. I would also like to add that I did post a little Taylor Swift to my story, like I played a little record after the Chiefs won. I want to make it clear, I'm not a Chiefs fan, okay? I'm just a Taylor Swift fan. And I'm also, you know, I also like to troll Eric Kirk, who's a Ravens fan. So he obviously got very upset by my DM. And good news, football fans. Unlike most years, you don't need to wait until Sunday for more games. As tonight from Sao Paulo, Brazil, it's the Packers and Eagles. And there are so many things to look forward to with this game, starting with the highest paid quarterback in the NFL by AAV. And if someone would have read you that sentence last year, at any point of the first half of the season, they would have thought you were crazy. Because as these numbers show you, he was just a different player in the second half of the season and the playoffs, almost knocking off the NFC champ 49ers in the divisional round. But now he enters the season with expectations. I mean, look at the MVP odds. He has the 6th shortest, with odds close to guys like Allen and Burrow, Stroud, and the guy who's playing tonight, Jalen Hurts. On the Philly side of things, expectations are high, as they are heavy favorites to win the division. And at 6-1, they have the 3rd shortest odds to win the conference, behind only the Niners and Lions. And all of this despite the reports we heard this summer about tension between Hurts and head coach Nick Sirianni. The Eagles are 2.5-point favorites tonight in Brazil, with the total sitting at 49.5. And you can watch the Packers and Eagles tonight on TSN at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific. Okay, so we had a great game last night and we have an amazing Friday night game, but that does not mean that we don't have an unreal Sunday slate, because we definitely have that. And let's start in the AFC, because we have some big news potentially out of Pittsburgh. As Steelers starter Russell Wilson was limited in practice with calf tightness, and his status for Sunday against the Falcons could be in jeopardy. And more news this morning, because at the individual period at Steelers practice today, we saw Justin Fields throwing the ball, with Russell Wilson watching on. Meaning we could maybe see Justin Fields under center for the Steelers at some point. Now, if you're looking for a pick in your survivor pool, chances are you and everyone else is going to be on the Bengals, as they are the biggest favorite this week in New England. Well, some good news. Receiver Jamar Chase is still without a new contract, but has been a limited participant in practice this week and is expected to be on the field Sunday. The limited tag has reportedly been because they want to ease him back into things. And looking ahead to Monday night, your likely first overall pick in your fantasy draft, Christian McCaffrey, has been a limited participant in practice all week with that calf injury. But the Niners also added Achilles to that injury designation, which has everyone who drafted him definitely holding their breath just a little bit. He is, however, expected to play Monday night against the Jets. TSN and CTV have you covered for all things football this weekend. Sunday at 1 o'clock, we have the Cards and Bills, Jags and Finns, Colts and Texans on TSN Plus, and the Steelers and Falcons. Then at 4, we got the Cowboys and Browns, and Broncos and Seahawks. Then a banger of a game Sunday night, a playoff rematch to revisit the Goff-Stafford trade as the Lions host the Rams. Okay, it is Friday in football season, so you know what that means. It's time now for my producer's favorite segment and my least favorite segment, time for FanDuel Fast Facts. And the thing is, like, I enjoy delivering facts, that is my job, but not in such a fast manner, okay? It's too much pressure and my producer sets me up to fail. So, you know, the opposite of what a producer should do. You know the deal, all week we have these great football and betting nuggets that we cannot quite find a way to put in the show. So we give them to you right now in rapid fire to see how many I can get through to help you with your betting needs this weekend. So let's put 40 seconds on the clock and start that stressful music and see how many of these I can get through. Only 2 road teams are favored in week 1, the Texans at -2.5 at the Colts and the Vikings at the Giants. Underdogs are 55-29-1 against the spread in week 1 division games over the last 15 seasons. Outside of the Texans and Colts game, the Raiders are 3-point road dogs at the Chargers, and the Panthers are 3.5-point road dogs at the Saints. Ugh! The last 15 QBs drafted first overall are 0-14-1 outright and 1-14 ATS in week 1. First round quarterbacks drafted since 2021 are 0-9 straight up against the spread in their first career starts. Road teams went 12-4 against the spread in week 1 last season. Teams that lose in the Super Bowl are 10-14 straight up and 5-19 against the spread in week 1 and the following season dating back to 2000. The 49ers are... I almost got through it. And you know what he does? He just like doesn't capitalize any team names at all. Like, he just makes it all like one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I almost got through it. I feel like that was a good first one. I set the bar where it should be. Okay? Claps all around for me. Okay, week 14 in the CFL kicks off tonight with BC taking on Montreal. So it's time now for the CFL Preview powered by FanDuel. And let's start by looking at the standings because Montreal is a cool 10-1. On top of the East and have already clinched a playoff berth. The first team in the league to do so. BC, meanwhile, is in a battle with every team in the West, as only 2 wins separate the first place Bombers and last place Elks. What the Lions have going for them is that Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke looks outstanding. Last week against Ottawa, he threw for over 300 yards for the first time since returning. A bet we recommended in this very segment, if you remember. And he tossed his first touchdown passes of the season, which makes his total of 279.5 passing yards. An intriguing over bet tonight. The more interesting play for BC, though, is William Stanback, who's returning to Montreal to face his former team for the first time. As he said earlier this week, he wants to stomp Montreal. He's gone over 80 yards in each of the last 4 games he's played, and he's had 15 or more touches in his last 4 outings as well, including 26 total touches last week. For Montreal, it's all about wideout Charleston Rambo, who stepped up with some injuries. He's eclipsed 80 yards in 4 straight games and has 3 touchdowns in that span. So his line at 71.5 is a sneaky play. You can watch the lines in Alouettes tonight on TSN. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. That's it for me today. We'll see you right back here Monday. Have an amazing weekend.